Let's make something happen. Welcome back, guys. Episode 18. Here we are. Final part of the three-part series for giving presentations effectively. We've already covered two very important aspects. Bomber B in the first part. The second part, linking words when you're giving your message. Finally, here we are for the third part. All right, what I'm going to be covering is just as important, if not the most important. That's why I've left the sweet part for the last, okay? Dealing with questions, I'm going to cover first at the beginning. After that, I'm going to discuss clarifying. I'm going to finish up with summarizing and digressing before I give you the super important tips that you need to know when you're giving a presentation, which you need to watch the whole video, but I'm going to keep it sweet and short this week so that you don't miss a thing. Let's get started. So, dealing with questions really quickly. This is not just about presentations. This is also about exam preparation. When you're doing the speaking part of a Cambridge exam, that's FCE, CAE, or the proficiency test or IELTS, there's one section on the speaking where you have to give an opinion. All right? You have to express yourself, speak for 4 minutes about an issue. So, dealing with questions is for that, as well as for presentations, but as well as for networking. When you're talking to people and sometimes you might get questions that you don't expect. How do you deal with that? How do you give yourself an extra second or two, a few seconds to just think about what you want to say before you say it? Remember, at an exam, if you hesitate and you don't speak for too long, the examiner is just going to automatically assume that you're thinking about what words to use and you don't know what to say. But we have some expressions that can help out. So let's start with dealing with the questions first. You can say something like, that's a very interesting question. I never thought about that before. Or that's a great question. Thank you for asking it, if it's a presentation, right? Okay. Or I'm glad you asked that. That's in a presentation more, but also in the test. The examiner will be really impressed if you say that, okay? Well, it's a complex issue. That would be for a presentation, okay? For clarification, you can say something like, let me check if I understood what you were saying. Are you asking, okay? Or could you be a little more specific? That is very important for the exam and presentations because a lot of times people don't realize in the audience that they're asking some vague questions, all right? Vague is a nice word. If you don't know it, it means too general, not specific enough. That happens a lot. So be brave, don't hold back, just ask that person to be more specific with their question. That is important. Probably not for exam preparation, but for presentations or networking, conferences, meetings, very important. Okay, let's move on to the second part, which is summarizing. So, to sum up, I have talked about three main areas in my three-part series. The first was about style and structure, Bomber B, American versus European. In the second part, I talked about linking words in your message to give you that flow, that rhythm that you need in order to make it easier for you to talk and make it easier for your audience to listen to you and follow what you're saying. And finally, in today's episode, giving you the super important tips that you need, as well as the clarification, dealing with questions, summarizing, and finally, digressing. Before going on, I'd just like to say a little bit about Padlet. Okay, Padlet is a fantastic site. I wear the teacher in support of it because I use it as a teacher very often, especially in the summer courses that I do with teenagers. Okay, it's a great tool that I really support, and I'm telling you teachers out there who follow this YouTube channel to give it a try in your classroom. You can set it for homework and use it as a place where your students post their work, or you can do something collaborative in the classroom live that moment because Padlet has an app for free on everybody's phone. All right, it's just a wallpaper that you can quickly project on the screen, and all your students' work can go up there. All right, quotes, stories, links, videos, personal videos, videos from YouTube. You can connect Google Drive, OneDrive, anything you can imagine. It all goes on there. So check it out. Padlet is the name of it. Rock and roll. I think you'll like it. Give it a chance. It's free. Why not? Okay. So getting back to my original point, you can see that using digressing can be effective if you need to go off the subject. It happens sometimes. I just did it with Padlet, okay? Now, to finish up, the super tips. The super tips are essential. What are they? Straight up, body, language, eye, contact, super duper important. Okay? If you are not scanning the audience, looking at the people that are there, listening to you, making eye contact with some of them very briefly, maybe moving around the room a little bit, moving your hands just a little bit, not as much as me because that's my thing, but you gotta do these things, especially the eye contact. And the eye contact goes to the next point, which is do not read your slides. Please, I beg you. If you do it, just don't go up there. Just don't go up there. Don't even give the presentation. Just forget it. Don't even bother. You're wasting your time because all you're doing when you're reading the slides is sending a very clear message to your audience. You're not prepared. You don't care. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry to be blunt. That's just the way it is. Between you and me, that is absolutely essential. Don't use the slides as the information. You are the information. The information comes here. Keep that in mind, please. Don't ever forget it. The rest is, I've talked about it. I'm not going to repeat myself. You know what to do. The slides should just be like kind of support to what you're saying. Nothing more. There shouldn't be a lot of text up there. Okay? So, guys, girls, you're ready for this. 3 parts. We're done. I'm looking forward to next week and future episodes. I got a lot coming up. I'm ready. I'm excited. And I hope you are too. Thank you for your support so far. Build momentum. Stay hungry. Let's make something happen. This is the ESL Trailblazer channel. I'm Nandis. I look forward to hearing your comments and feedback. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share with people who you think will find this valuable. Remember to check out Padlet. And I will see you next week, but you have a great week. All right? Let's make something happen. Let's make something happen. See you next week. Later.